bad, Yuta. I'm scolding you for your own good.
That's actually cute, Sensei. Sato Takagi was my home tutor that I admired. Back then, she was a college student working part-time. She was kind and had a beautiful smile. When I made it into my desired college, she was happy as much as I was. However, sometimes she looked kind of sad. This world works out in a weird way, as we would cross paths once again years later. Mizuhashi, would you rather marry me or a beautiful woman on Omiyai? Distance, please. What's this about? One of my clients as a young CEO, Mr. Takaoka, came at me with this question. Besides, I've never even thought about getting married. Sir, would you mind backing up? Because you're playing hard to get. Don't say that with your voice. Out of curiosity, what if I do choose you? Then I'm gonna have to take you to the hospital. Sadly. You're the one who asked! I know we go back a long way, but this guy needs to start making sense. Eventually, I was talked into participating in an omiyai he'd set up. About time I introduced myself. I'm Yuta Mizuhashi. I run my company, which was my dad's before he passed away a few years ago. I found myself with a lot of money, including the inheritance after his death. As for my mom, I heard she divorced and disappeared right after giving birth to me. Not that I care where she is now. With my grandparents gone as well, all that's left to me is the money and the company. Mr. Takaoka was my dad's best friend, by the way. An omiyai, huh? It still feels surreal to be here.
Your guest is already here.
I arrived a bit early, but looks like my potential wife-to-be is a step ahead. Come to think of it, I never got the picture of her that he promised to send me. Too late for that, I guess. I'm gonna have to find out myself. As I'm led into a room in the back, I see a woman sitting silently. She's so beautiful. She's good looking, in a nice shape. She's like a beautiful flower. She is my omiyai candidate? It's possible that me and this gorgeous lady would go out? Naturally, I'm tensed up. Then she directs her attention toward me.
It's been a while, Yuta Mizuhashi.
What?
Did you forget about your tutor?
Tutor? Oh! She's Chisato Takagi, the home tutor my dad hired for me when I was a senior in high school. She was a kind person, to say the least. It was even hard for her to be mad at someone. Like that time when I pulled a prank on her with a bug toy.
Hey, you need to behave. You're not a little kid anymore.
As if she was trying to be intimidating. She's kinda cute when she's angry. Just like that, she was a sweet and lovable person. Are you really Chisato?
We're both all grown up now, huh?
Despite the years, she still had the same smile. Yeah, I guess you look more mature.
Because I am. Well, I could say the same to you. You're a big man now. I heard you took over your father's business. You're the CEO.
Oh yeah, not an easy job to be honest. I just feel like I took over more than I could handle.
Like more than you could spend?
This caught me off guard, as it wasn't something I expected.
Yuta, marry me right now.
What did you say? She leans in and continues with a total different tone.
You're a CEO, and I need money. So marry me.
What are you talking about, Chisato? You need money? I was too shocked by what she had to say. Okay, you can drop it now, Chisato. It's getting really weird here. I pretended to laugh, but she wasn't laughing and was still staring at me unfazed.
I'm not joking, and I'll say it again. I need you to marry me and give me a decent amount of money.
Okay, then tell me why. There must be a good reason, right? If you at least tell me, then I might be able to...
I'm sorry, I can't.
You gotta be kidding me! I was furious. How can she be so entitled?
I just can't tell you. All I can do is be yours, please.
She then bows. However, that's hardly enough to convince me. I need to think about it. This is just...
There isn't much time. You may not believe it, but it's for your own good too.
Sounds like something you'd say to commit a marriage fraud. Her being in such a hurry doesn't make it look any better either. Chisato, whatever's going on, I advise you not to do anything shady.
I'm sorry, but I need money now.
If she was really trying to deceive me, she would have come up with something elaborate instead of just asking for money straight up. Or maybe she thinks I'm too dumb to doubt her. To think this is the Chisato I knew. I thought about those days back then, which saddened me even more. Let go of me. I'm done here. Just when I try to stand up and leave.
Please, you need to trust me.
She pulls on my hand to keep me from walking away. She's shaking. Why? I don't understand. In fact, I haven't understood a thing ever since I got here. I sat down as if I was giving in. I wasn't leaving anymore. Alright, I'll trust you. At least for now.
Thank you.
Can't think of a way to spend all that money left to me anyway. I can afford to lose a little. I have one condition though. We register our marriage certificate right away. If she's trying to calm me, this is where she'll back down. However...
Really? No problem. I was thinking the same thing actually. I only agreed to having this omiai because I'm okay marrying you. Thank you. Everything's going to be fine now.
Unexpectedly, she genuinely looked happy. I'm seriously confused. This whole act. Or is she being 100% honest?
We'll process your registration.
A few days later, we were at the city hall to turn in our marriage certificate.
Now I'm married to my student. Let's make the best of it together, Yuta.
Oh, yeah, sure. It definitely doesn't feel like we're married.
It feels funny holding your arm like this.
Then stop holding my arm.
No can do. We are married despite everything.
You mean despite the fact that it had only been a few days between our reunion and marriage? At this point, it wasn't really for me to call it quits, since this was exactly the condition I brought up to her.
Hey, maybe I shouldn't be asking this, but didn't you have anyone you liked?
Nah, I went to a boys' school. After I graduated college, which didn't have a lot of girls either, I dedicated myself to work. Just when I thought I could slow down with work, I had to take over my dad's business as a CEO. And you know about my family situation. It was never easy for me to imagine a future with someone.
I see. What an elaborate excuse for not being able to get a girl.
It's not an excuse!
Oh no! Did I catch myself a loser who can't even own up to his own unpopularity?
Are you calling me a loser? She doesn't seem to remember who wanted this marriage in the first place. Look who's talking. All you care about in this marriage is money.
You're right.
Folding my arms, I gave her a stare.
Sorry. Jokes aside, I had no choice but to...
Chisato's laugh sounded somewhat sad.
Hey, I know you don't trust me, and I don't blame you. I may not tell you why I'm doing this.
What is that supposed to mean?
When the time comes, I promise I'll tell you everything.
I don't get it. What does she mean when the time comes? She kept walking, never looking back as if she was hiding her expression. A few days have passed since our marriage became official. Everything happened so fast we haven't really done anything a normal married couple would do. I also realized something when I was eating food she made for me at my house. I haven't been properly introduced to your parents! Whoa, to think I married her without seeing her parents, even though we were so busy.
Calm down, Yuta. This seems like a good time for a lecture on social studies. Remember the marriage certificate we signed? There are different sections both of us need to fill in. Anyone can be written on the witness section, even a random pervert wearing your undies on their head.
How desperate can you be to ask that person to be your witness?
However, as for parental information, it has to be legitimate, about your real parents on the record. You wrote about your parents as I did mine.
What she's implying is that her parents disappeared or are no longer alive. I mean, the way she put it. They're probably already deceased. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No worries. There was no way for you to know.
Actually, I don't know anything at all about her family. I never have.
Your bowl is empty. Let your beloved wife get you another one.
Okay, beloved, huh? Although she understands that the only thing that's holding our marriage together is a piece of paper.
I don't remember my real mom, but I did have someone who took care of me. She was very sweet, and she always put her children first. Huh? Why am I crying?
Chisato, I can't understand what she's going through, since she's never told me anything so far. Until now. The person that was her mother figure is probably gone.
Your love came to see you!
This marriage has been going on for about a month. We don't live together like an ordinary couple, but she visits me every day. I've already given her the money she asked for, but here she is, still not running. Isn't this too much for you to literally commute here every day?
Well, at least until we settle down.
When I ask her if she'll live with me, she becomes evasive, saying it's not the right time. No, this stew is really good.
I knew you'd say that. This is a recipe the same woman who took care of me taught me. You did notice the difference.
When it's this good, yeah. What are you smiling about?
I'm just glad.
Moments like this contributed to improving our relationship day by day. We've come a long way from when we met at the Omiyai. And then...
Yuta, would you come with me on your next day off?
Come where?
I'm finally ready.
Said Chisato. On my next off, I was brought to a hospital. A hospital? What for?
The woman I told you about, who was like a mother to me, she's in this hospital.
So she's still alive.
The thing is, she's not to marry my dad. They're more like partners. I still call her mom, though. About a year ago, she was hurt in a hit and run while crossing on a green light. She severely injured her head, which sent her into a coma. She survived the accident, but hasn't been awake ever since. The perpetrator hasn't been caught, and all I could do was mourn. It costs a lot being in a hospital, you know? Around 8,000 yen a day, I think. But that's just for the stay. There's other fees, too. I cut down on a lot of stuff. Sold anything I could sell, but it's never been enough.
So that's why you were in need of money.
Yes. It's gotten to the point where I couldn't afford to do this on my own.
I still don't get why you never told me this. That's when our conversation stopped, as Chisato entered one room. There was a middle-aged woman who smiled at Chisato, and then me.
You've grown up, Yuta. I don't think you remember me.
What?
How was I supposed to tell him? How was I supposed to tell him his mom was dying?
My mom? Utterly shocked, I look at Chisato. She was facing down, crying.
I wanted to tell you, Yuta. But it was a promise with her not to do that. I knew I owed you an explanation, but just how am I going to tell you? Your long-lost mother had been in an accident? I couldn't even imagine how you'd feel to see her in a coma. My actions may not be justified, but I decided to take the heat. At least until she regains consciousness. Gee, Sato, I'm sorry. Looks like I made you go through a lot.
Chisato begins to sob. As for me, I had no idea how to react. This person is my mother.
I need to apologize to you too, Yuta. I never was going to show myself to you. Whatever happened doesn't change the fact that I left you. I can't claim to be your mother now. But this little girl decided to go check up on you for me. After contacting your father in Takaoka, she became your home tutor. I was overjoyed to hear how you had grown up well, and that was enough for me.
My mother seemed to be reminiscing. I get it now. It wasn't just a coincidence that Chisato was my home tutor. Then why the hell did you leave your baby son if you're really my mother? Dad never remarried because he never forgot about you. I always wondered why I didn't have a mom like others did. You were gone for over 20 years and now you're here and... How do you expect me to feel? All this shit is messed up. Chisato back in my life again, the omiai, the marriage. And now I met with my mom who I thought I lost long time ago. What the hell do you want me to do?
Yuta, I'm really sorry. All because I wasn't strong enough. That's not true. It's not your fault.
Chisato shouts as if trying to comfort her. Apparently, it was my grandparents who casted her out due to some petty political conflict between families. She was thrown out right after she gave birth to me, and it was Takagi family that took her in. I had no clue. Overwhelmed by everything, I couldn't but just stand there. It felt like the floor beneath me had collapsed. I always thought you abandoned me.
But that's what I ended up doing. I couldn't do anything for you as a mother. Yuta, you're now an independent adult. You won't be needing me anymore. But for the last time, will you indulge me and let me touch your face?
I moved closer to let her pat my head with her hand that is all skinny.
Huh. I can't believe you're so big now. You must have been through rough times. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, Yuta. Oh my. It's like a dream come true.
Huge tears were dropping from my eyes. I don't remember my mom's face, but something told me this was her.
Mom told me she started dating your dad in high school.
On the way home from the hospital, Chisato started telling me stories she heard from my mom.
Also, my dad and Takaoka and your dad were all friends. They were all so kind. My dad helped your mom but never remarried her.
My dad stayed single because...
He still loved her, I think. They both kept wishing for the day they could be together again.
Next day, I told Mr. Takaoka that I met my mother. Is that so? Not exactly the way we wanted things to be, but I'm glad to hear that, said Mr. Takaoka with a serious tone of voice. So, out of 4 of us, me and her are the only ones left. It's not the same without you two. Those were the good days. Your parents were deeply in love with each other. None of us had any idea how things would turn out to be in the future. She could never be with him again, but at least she has you. Finally. I ask you not to blame her. We thought it was best not to complicate the matter, so we had to patiently wait until your grandparents would eventually forgive her. Such a tragedy to think my dad passed away a little before my grandparents did. With mixed feelings, I got home, where Chisato was waiting for me.
I know I've done terrible things to you, and I have to apologize.
Well, you were the primary reason for the recent development of my trust issues. How can you be asking for money at an omiai?
I was in a tight spot.
Just kidding. Let's establish a no secret rule from here on out. After all, we are married.
Huh?
We definitely got off on the wrong foot in our marriage, not to mention how bad our reunion was. But I'm relieved to know you're still the same Chisato sensei from back then. We already turned in the certificate too, and although it's technically the other way around, why don't we start by getting to know each other more, Chisato, so that we can be a real family one day? Telling her my true feelings, I reach out my hand. After a few weeks, Chisato moved in with me, as well as my mom who checked out of hospital in one piece. By some weird coincidence, the perpetrator who hit my mom was arrested around the same time. Turned out to be an executive officer or something. Of course, we'll try to make sure he's given a harsh sentence for his crime.
So, this is where you and your dad lived. Oh, Mom!
I'd say it's impossible to describe the emotions she's feeling now. Another thing that makes this day special is that I'm trying my mom's cooking for the first time in my life. Wait, I know this taste.
Of course you do. Everything I made for was taught by her.
I see. I was eating my mom's cooking through hers.
Still, mine doesn't taste as good as yours, Mom. I want you to teach me more.
I'm sure we are going to have many family bonding moments like this. 2 years later, we had our wedding. At first, it was a marriage only on paper. But over these 2 years, our connection has become deeper and stronger. It was never a normal start, but we'll make the best of it and be a great couple. We're gonna walk this road together.